The ground shifted under his boots again, not enough to throw him off balance, just enough to remind him that this planet was very much alive and probably not thrilled about his presence. He paused, scanning the dim, bioluminescent corridor stretching ahead, its walls pulsing with a slow, rhythmic glow like a heartbeat trying to stay calm under pressure. His visor adjusted automatically, translating alien wavelengths into something his human eyes could tolerate, though tolerate was doing generous work. It still looked like someone had spilled neon across a nightmare. Motion stable, his suit's AI whispered into his ear, calm and annoyingly polite. Also, for the record, this place is deeply unsettling. He exhaled slowly. You're a machine, you're not supposed to have opinions. I was upgraded, the AI replied. Now I have excellent ones. He almost smiled, but the expression didn't quite form. Smiling wasn't part of the mission profile. Neither was talking more than necessary, but silence in a place like this felt like an invitation for something to creep up behind him and introduce itself with teeth. He moved forward. Step was deliberate. The structures around him weren't built, they were grown. Arched passageways curved like ribs, and faint currents of energy drifted through translucent veins in the walls. Once, as he passed, a section of the corridor flexed slightly, adjusting its shape to give him more room. He stopped, stared at it, then muttered, Did the hallway just make space for me? Hospitality protocol, the AI suggested. It's the enemy, he said flatly. They don't do hospitality. Perhaps they didn't get the memo. He continued anyway, weapon steady in his hands, its interface syncing with his neural feed. Target, Alien Queen. Objective, terminate. No hesitation. No deviation. He had repeated those words enough times that they no longer felt like orders, they felt like gravity. And yet the deeper he went, the less this place resembled anything he had been trained to destroy. There were no defenses, no patrols, no signs of a military stronghold. Instead, he passed through chambers that felt quiet, not abandoned, not exactly, more like paused. In one wide, circular room, clusters of floating, crystalline organisms drifted lazily in the air, emitting soft tones that harmonized in a way his translator couldn't quite process. Are those singing? He asked. Technically, yes, the AI replied. Also technically, they're ignoring you completely. He frowned, rude, or peaceful. He didn't respond to that. A faint vibration ran through the floor, stronger this time. He adjusted his stance automatically, scanning for threats, but nothing emerged. Instead, a distant glow intensified at the far end of the corridor ahead, like a signal drawing him forward. This is it, the AI said, its tone shifting subtly. Energy readings matched the target profile. His grip tightened. The mission settled back into place around him, familiar and heavy. Whatever this place felt like, whatever illusions it tried to project, it didn't change the facts. The Alien Queen was here. She was responsible for countless human deaths. Entire colonies erased. Cities reduced to dust drifting between stars. Monster, he reminded himself. The word anchored him. He advanced toward the light. The passage narrowed, then opened into a vast chamber that seemed to breathe with a deeper, slower rhythm than the rest of the structure. The air was warmer here, thick with something almost like humidity, though his suit filtered it before it could reach him. At the center of the chamber, partially obscured by curved, organic pillars, a figure lay motionless. He stopped. His weapon lifted instinctively, targeting systems activating, data streaming across his visor. The silhouette resolved slowly, details sharpening with each step he took closer. Not towering, not monstrous, not anything like the briefings. That can't be right, he murmured. The figure shifted slightly. His finger hovered near the trigger. For a moment, nothing moved except the slow pulse of light along the walls. Then, faintly, he heard it, a breath. Uneven, weak. He stepped closer, confusion threading through the edges of his focus. Target confirmed, the AI said, though there was a pause before it added, probably. Probably, he echoed. Visual data does not match expected parameters, the AI admitted. Either our intel is wrong, or the universe is being creatively misleading. He almost laughed at that. A short, quiet sound that didn't belong in a place like this. Stay sharp, he said instead. I am literally always sharp, the AI replied. You, on the other hand, quiet. He closed the distance. He could see her clearly. A woman lay against the curved structure behind her, her posture tense even in stillness. Her skin held a faint, otherworldly glow, and her features were strikingly human, too human, in a way that felt deliberate rather than coincidental. But it was her ears that broke the illusion, long and elegantly arched, extending back past her head in smooth, alien lines. Her eyes opened. They locked onto his instantly. No fear, no surprise, just awareness, sharp and immediate, like she had been expecting him all along. His weapon remained trained on her. Target acquired, the AI confirmed again, more firmly this time. Recommendation, complete objective. He didn't move. Something about the scene resisted the simplicity of the command. She wasn't attacking. She wasn't even moving beyond the slight rise and fall of her breathing. And then he noticed it. Her arm was positioned protectively across her side, shielding something just out of his line of sight. "Scan," he whispered. "Already trying," the AI replied. "Obstruction detected. Whatever she's hiding, it's being shielded intentionally." Of course it was. He adjusted his stance, trying to angle for a clearer view. Her gaze followed the movement precisely. A warning, unspoken but unmistakable. He had faced enemies before, creatures that lunged, that screamed, that tore through anything in their path. This was different. This felt like stepping into the wrong version of a story. "Say something," the AI suggested suddenly. "You're just standing there, it's awkward." "I don't negotiate with targets," he muttered. "Maybe just a greeting? Hello, I'm here to eliminate you. How's your day going?" Very professional. He ignored it. The chamber seemed to hold its breath with him. His finger tightened slightly on the trigger. One movement. That was all it would take. One movement, and the mission would be complete. But for the first time since he had stepped onto this planet, the outcome didn't feel inevitable. Her eyes did not waver, and that alone unsettled him more than any sudden attack could have. Most targets reacted: fear, rage, desperation. She simply watched him, as if measuring something invisible and finding it inconclusive. "You're going to have to make a decision eventually," the AI murmured. "Preferably before one of us develops a personality crisis." He exhaled slowly, adjusting his aim by a fraction. "Scan again." "I am scanning," it replied. "I have been scanning. I am, in fact, scanning with enthusiasm." "Then tell me what she's hiding." A brief pause. "Small, weak energy signature. Not a weapon, not a defense system, unless it's a very committed piece of fruit." His brow tightened. "Define small." "Smaller than you, larger than your patience." He stepped closer despite himself. Each movement slow enough to be interpreted as non-threatening, or at least less immediately lethal. Her posture tensed, her arm tightening protectively. "Easy," he muttered, though he wasn't sure whether he meant her or himself. Her voice came then, low and strained, yet steady enough to cut through the air between them. He didn't understand the language, but his translator struggled briefly before reshaping the sound into meaning. "You are late," she said. He blinked once. "Late." The AI chimed in, almost delighted. "Oh good, she talks. That usually makes things easier, or significantly worse." He ignored it. "You were expecting me." Her gaze flicked briefly to his weapon, then back to his face. "Your kind does not hide its intentions well." "That's reassuring," he said dryly. "We aim for clarity." "Clarity," the AI echoed. "We bomb planets." He suppressed the urge to respond. She shifted slightly, and the movement exposed just enough for him to see what she had been shielding. A small form, pressed against her side, barely moving. Pale, fragile, its features not fully defined, something between her and something not yet decided. His grip faltered. "No," he whispered under his breath. "Correction," the AI said, tone adjusting. "Not fruit." The child, if it could be called that, made a faint sound, a weak, uneven breath that seemed far too fragile to exist in a place like this. "That's not possible," he said, more to himself than to her. "It is statistically unlikely," the AI agreed. "But here we are, defying expectations together." Her eyes sharpened at the way his weapon dipped, just slightly. "Do it," she said. He froze. "Finish what you came for," she continued, her voice gaining a faint edge despite her condition. "You hesitate. That is not like your kind." His jaw tightened. "You don't know anything about my kind." "I know enough," she replied. "You destroy what you do not understand. You call it survival." "That goes both ways," he shot back. A flicker passed through her expression, not quite anger, not quite agreement. "Then perhaps we are more similar than either of us would like." The AI made a soft, almost approving sound. "Ah, mutual existential disappointment. A classic bonding experience." "Not helping," he muttered. He looked down again at the small figure. It shifted weakly, its hand, tiny, almost translucent, curling against her side. Energy levels critical, the AI noted quietly. Both of them. Define critical. Define, you should have already pulled the trigger if you were going to. He swallowed. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. There were no briefings for this. No simulations where the target spoke calmly while holding something that wasn't supposed to exist. You're the queen, he said, forcing the words into something solid. I am what remains, she answered. That's not an answer. It is the only one you need. Silence stretched again, thicker now, filled with things neither of them said. Behind him, somewhere deep in the structure, a distant tremor rippled through the walls. His visor flickered briefly as new data streamed in. Multiple incoming signals, the AI warned. Not ours. His head snapped slightly. Explain. I would love to, it replied. But they are moving very fast and do not appear interested in polite conversation. Her eyes shifted past him for the briefest moment. They have found us. Who? He demanded. She looked back at him, and for the first time there was something unmistakable in her expression. Fear. Your war is not the only one, she said. The tremor came again, stronger this time. The chamber responded, light pulsing erratically, as if the structure itself was becoming agitated. External breach detected, the AI said. Also, I would like to formally object to the timing of this development. He let out a short breath that almost resembled a laugh. Noted. His weapon lifted again, but not toward her, toward the entrance. Well, the AI said, tone shifting into something sharper, this is new. He glanced back at her. At the fragile life she was still shielding despite everything. Then back at the corridor. You said I'm late, he muttered. Yes. He adjusted his stance, placing himself between her and the direction of the incoming threat. Looks like I'm just in time, he said. The AI paused for half a second, then replied, I'm going to need you to clarify our current objective, because it feels like we've taken a very dramatic turn. He didn't answer immediately. The first distant impact echoed through the structure. His grip steadied. New objective, he said quietly. Of course, the AI sighed. I was getting bored of the old one anyway. The second impact didn't echo. It tore through the chamber like something impatient with subtlety. The organic walls shuddered, light flickering in erratic pulses as if the structure itself had decided it no longer trusted reality. He didn't wait for another warning. His weapon calibrated mid-turn, targeting the breach point before the first shapes even forced their way inside. They weren't human. They are definitely not fruit either, the AI noted. Helpful, he muttered, firing. The shot carved through the first intruder in a clean arc of energy, but two more followed, sleek and angular, their forms shifting in ways that made his targeting system hesitate half a second too long. Adaptive armor, the AI said. I hate adaptive armor, it's very rude. He adjusted, firing again, stepping forward to narrow the angle. Behind him, he could hear her breathing, strained but steady, and the faint, fragile sound of the child. Can you move? He called over his shoulder. A pause, then not far, good enough. That is not reassuring. It wasn't meant to be. Another wave surged through the breach. He moved faster now, instincts taking over, each shot precise, each step calculated to keep the entrance sealed by force if not by structure. Multiple hostiles, the AI warned. Also, I would like to remind you that we were supposed to leave after completing the original objective. Plans change. They do, usually not in ways that involve protecting the target. He almost smiled. Get used to it. A sharp movement to his left, he turned, firing without hesitation. The creature collapsed mid-lunge, its form destabilizing into something that looked less like a body and more like a failed idea. Charming, the AI said. The ground trembled again, harder this time. They're going to collapse this place, he said. They being everyone? The AI replied. Because I'm detecting incoming human signatures now as well. He swore under his breath. Of course they are. Two sides of the same war, converging on one point, on him. Extraction route? He asked. Complicated, the AI answered. But not impossible. There is a surface breach forming approximately 300 meters above us. He glanced back. She was trying to push herself upright, one arm still wrapped around the child. Her movements were slower now, pain catching up with her. He moved to her without thinking, lowering his weapon just enough to reach down. Can you stand? He asked. She looked at him, searching his face as if expecting the answer to change. Why? She asked. He hesitated just for a second. Then, because I decided not to kill you, he said. It would be a waste to let someone else do it. A faint, almost incredulous breath escaped her. Not quite a laugh, but close enough. Your logic is strange. Yeah, he said, helping her up carefully. I've been told that. The child shifted between them, letting out a weak sound. He adjusted instinctively, supporting both of them as he turned toward the corridor. New plan, he said. We leave together. And then, she asked. He didn't answer immediately. Another explosion rocked the chamber, closer now. Then we figure out how to survive a galaxy that wants us both dead, he said finally. The AI made a soft sound. Ambitious, I like it. They moved. The corridors that had once felt alive now felt panicked, walls contracting and expanding unpredictably, pathways shifting as the structure reacted to the damage. He adjusted his route on the fly, guided by the AI's constant stream of recalculations. Left, it said. No, other left, the one that doesn't look like it's about to digest us. He turned sharply, steadying her as she stumbled. You complain a lot, she said between breaths. You notice that now? He replied. I assumed it was a cultural trait. It is, the AI added. We are very advanced complainers. A faint smile touched her lips despite everything. They reached a vertical shaft, light pouring down from above through a fractured opening. That's our way out, he said. And how do we reach it? She asked, looking up. He adjusted his grip, activating the grappling system built into his suit. We improvise. Of course you do. He secured the line, then hesitated, looking at her and at the child. Hold on, he said. To you? She asked. Yes. That still feels like a poor survival strategy. Trust me, he said. Another pause, then she nodded. He fired the line. The ascent was rough, the structure shifting around them, debris falling in unstable bursts. Halfway up, a blast from below sent a shockwave through the shaft. Incoming, the AI warned. He twisted mid-ascent, firing downward to intercept the rising threat. The impact knocked one of the creatures back, buying just enough time. Almost there, he said through clenched teeth. They reached the top as the chamber below began to collapse in on itself. He pulled them onto solid ground just as the opening sealed behind them with a final, echoing crash. For a moment, there was only silence. Open sky stretched above them, fractured by distant ships, human and alien both closing in. Well, the AI said, that is a lot of attention. He looked at her, at the child, then back at the sky. They're not going to stop, she said. I know. You will be hunted, I know. She studied him again, that same measuring gaze from before, but now something in it had changed. And you still choose this? She asked. He took a slow breath. For the first time, the answer didn't come from training or orders or anything he had been told to believe. It came from him. Yeah, he said. I do. The child stirred slightly, its small hand curling against his arm this time. The AI paused, then said softly, well, that's new. He almost laughed. Ships descended in the distance, weapons charging, the sky turning into a battlefield waiting to happen. He adjusted his stance, not raising his weapon yet, not running either, just standing there between what he had been and what he had chosen to become. Any ideas? He asked. Several, the AI replied, most of them questionable. Good, he said. I'm done with safe options. Beside him, she stood a little straighter, despite the pain, despite everything, not alone anymore. The first shots lit up the sky. He didn't flinch. This time, he wasn't following orders. This time, he was making them. The first volley didn't come from the sky. It came from behind. He turned just in time to see the ground rupture again, not collapsing this time, but opening, like the planet itself had decided to contribute one last complication. A narrow ridge rose beneath their feet, lifting them slightly above the surrounding terrain as if offering a stage. Excellent, the AI said. Now we are visible from every possible angle. Truly optimal. Ships above adjusted formation, human signatures locking onto his suit instantly. Priority target acquired. A familiar voice crackled through his comms. Command. He closed his eyes for half a second. He hadn't expected silence, but hearing them again felt like stepping backward into a life he had already left. Unit 7, the voice continued, colder now. Stand down, terminate the alien entity and await extraction. He opened his eyes. No, he said. A pause followed, not long but long enough to matter. Repeat that. I said no. The AI made a small, almost impressed sound. Oh, we're doing this properly, I like it. Unit 7, you are in violation of direct command. I know, he cut in, add it to the list. The ships shifted again. Weapons aligned. Beside him, she didn't speak, but he could feel the tension in her stance, the subtle way she adjusted her grip on the child. They will kill you first, she said quietly. They've been trying that for years, he replied. They just didn't tell me about it. Reassuring, not really. The first human strike fired, a controlled blast meant to disable, not destroy. He moved instantly, pulling her with him as the ground behind them vaporized in a clean, precise line. Non-lethal, the AI noted. How considerate. They would like you alive for disciplinary purposes. Pass, he said, already moving. Another strike, closer this time. He calculated angles, timing, the narrowing window before they switched to less polite options. We need leverage, he muttered. I have several terrible ideas, the AI replied, and one slightly less terrible one. I'll take the slightly less terrible. There is a communication relay embedded in your suit. If we boost it, we can broadcast on all channels. To say what? The AI paused. Something persuasive or confusing, humans are very susceptible to both. He almost laughed. Do it. A surge of static filled the air as the signal spiked outward, cutting through military channels, alien frequencies, anything within range. Attention, everyone trying to kill us, the AI began cheerfully. We would like to propose a brief pause in hostilities. He cut in, voice sharper. This is Unit 7, stand down. The response was immediate. You are compromised, command snapped. Your judgment is no longer valid. Maybe, he said, or maybe your intel is. Silence again. He took a breath, choosing the words carefully, not as a soldier, not as a weapon, but as something else entirely. There is no army here, he said. No invasion force, just one survivor and a child. That is irrelevant. It's exactly relevant, he replied. You told us they were monsters, that they couldn't be anything else. They are the enemy. He glanced at her, at the child now barely clinging to consciousness. They're alive, he said. That should count for something. The AI added helpfully. Also, statistically speaking, killing every unknown life form you encounter is a very inefficient long-term strategy. Stay out of this, command snapped. I cannot, the AI replied. I am literally inside the situation. Another ship moved closer, weapons charging brighter now. They're not convinced, the AI said. No, he agreed. They wouldn't be. He lowered his weapon, not as surrender, as a statement. Then don't believe me, he said. Look. He stepped aside slightly, just enough to reveal her fully, the child in her arms. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one of the ships hesitated, just a fraction. Visual confirmation? A different voice murmured over the comms, less certain now. Unknown classification, another added. Target is not. Do not deviate, command snapped, but the edge had shifted. Doubt had slipped in. Beside him, she spoke softly, her voice carried through the amplified signal, translated imperfectly but clearly enough. We are not your war, she said. The simplicity of it hung in the air. No threats, no defiance, just truth. The child stirred weakly, a small sound barely audible, but somehow louder than the weapons surrounding them. Silence stretched. Then slowly, one of the ships powered down its targeting array. Stand by, the uncertain voice said. Another followed. Not all of them, not yet, but enough. The tension shifted, not gone, but no longer inevitable. He exhaled, a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Well, the AI said, that worked better than expected. I was prepared to improvise something involving dramatic music. Save it, he muttered. Command's voice returned, quieter now. Unit 7, you are requesting what exactly? He thought about it, not orders, not permission. A chance, he said, for all of us to stop making the same mistake. Another long pause, then finally, temporary ceasefire authorized, pending review. The sky didn't clear, the ships didn't leave, but they didn't fire. For now, that was enough. He lowered his shoulders slightly, tension easing for the first time since he had stepped onto the planet. Beside him, she swayed, exhaustion catching up at last. He steadied her without thinking. It seems, she said faintly, your strange logic has some effect. Don't get used to it, he replied. The child shifted again, more stable now, its breathing less fragile. The AI hummed softly. Life signs improving. I would like to take partial credit. You're taking all the credit, he said. Obviously. He looked up at the ships, at the fragile paws he had carved out of something that had never known how to stop. For the first time, he didn't feel like a weapon waiting for the next command. He felt responsible. And strangely, that felt heavier and better at the same time. "What happens now?" she asked. He considered the question. Once the answer would have been simple. Mission complete. Return, reset. Now, he said slowly. We figure out how to build something that doesn't end like this. She studied him, then gave a small, tired nod. Ambitious, she said. Yeah, he admitted. I've been told that. The AI added, I support this plan, mostly because it significantly increases our chances of not dying immediately. He almost laughed again. Around them, the galaxy waited, uncertain, watching, no longer entirely sure what to do next. For once, neither was he, but that was fine. He wasn't following orders anymore. He was writing them. And this time, he intended to get it right.